Now we present to you America's quintessential iconoclastic anomaly. Wow. In talk radio, your host, Joe Cristiano.
It's time for us to take back control of our government. Now, before this bureaucratic, oversized, and self-serving federal government starves us of our property, our freedom, our rights, and our liberty. To do this, we must shed conventional thinking regarding our political structure. We need to be revolutionaries in thought, dissidents in action. Only after we recognize what our government is doing to our freedom and our Constitution will we start taking it back. And folks, that's what this program is all about. And welcome to the University of Logic, better known as Cristiano's Conservatory, correcting convoluted conversation. Now, I need to make a public service announcement first. This program will be highly controversial. If, in fact, you are a weenie Millie Mouse, I suggest that you turn the volume down. I suggest maybe you go do some knitting, because if you do not listen carefully, you will not understand what I am saying. You will not get the gist of my talk. You will, in fact, draw the wrong conclusion, and that would be the worst thing. And I don't need anyone drawing the wrong conclusion, because we have too many people now doing just that. Do we understand each other? Okay, I want you to listen attentively, because what I have to say, if you do not understand, will sound horrible, will sound anti-American, will sound hateful, and it's the exact opposite. But that's the America we live in right now. We live in an America where everything is said nicety nice, but it becomes to be it really is very, very cruel what we say. We're going to change that tonight, so you'll have to put on your ears especially carefully now. Okay? Now, we're going to start with a new segment of our program. It's called Mind Control Misspeak Moment.
That's right. It's time for Mind Control Misspeak. Mind Control Misspeak.
I tell you, I hired the strangest people around here. Unbelievable. You know, there are... I liked it. You like that, don't
I liked
you?
it. I liked it.
But, you know, there are so many phrases that drive me nuts. And I'm going to pick on one that I had deliberated about for 2 weeks. And I was so unsure, and I'm still uncertain as to whether or not I should even broach this subject, because it's too easy to misunderstand. How often have you seen on television or heard on the radio or even in person, seen a person who is in uniform, one of the armed forces, and the person who is speaking with them or around them would say, by the way, let me thank you for your service to our country. At that point, I go crazy. I go absolutely nuts. I don't say anything, because you can't. It's like, do you enjoy beating your wife question? I mean, there's no way out of it. But I want to get out of it now. I want to clear the air. In what respect are our men and women who really believe that they are serving their country actually doing so? I want you to think about that. Who are they really serving? Are they serving their country? Or are they serving the military-industrial complex financed by the world bankers, supported by the CIA? A or B? Now, you know the answer to that question. And what really disturbs me is that our young men and women, who are just nice people typically, nice kids, are trained to be killers, to go overseas and to obey orders, kill people that are not attacking them in a country that we are not at war with. And then we say, thank you for serving our country. Now, you know what happens to most of these men and women when they come back. They're thinking the exact opposite. Now, those of you who are watching this on the internet will notice I'm wearing a hat. I'm wearing my helmet. Because I need protection.
Well, I thought maybe you were going to do one of Wagner's 12-hour operas or something.
Well, that's afterwards. I bet I do afterwards. That's extra show.
I thought it was a credit card commercial.
Brunhilde.
No, I'm wearing this for protection because I'm really afraid I have to protect myself. Not only that, folks, I'm going to take a break for a second. I don't think you have to
worry about that.
But I also, because most people can't think they're zombies, I brought an official zombie. Yeah, put it on. This is an official zombie knife.
Oh, wow. That is zombie knife.
Wow. Hey, it cost me $189. It's a real knife. Look at this thing.
Oh, my.
So,
it's a zombie knife. I have this thing to protect myself because we don't think we're a bunch of zombies. America's become a bunch of zombies. I mean, just to think for a second, that our government places our young men and women in uniform, trains them to kill, ships them overseas, points in a direction and says, kill those people who could be just people walking in the street. I mean, normal people, they look like they're not bothering anyone, and they are forced to do it. And we say, well, we're at war with Iraq. We're at war in Afghanistan. No, we were never at war with Iraq. We invaded Iraq. When are we going to start using the proper terminology?
There you go, invaded.
Yeah, and we say thank you for something. What really grabs me is that when the young men and women decide to enlist, do not they have parents with any brains? Their parents, don't they say, wait a minute, do you truly understand what is going on here? That they are sacrificing the men and women of this country. They are taxing.
It's barbaric, much like your hat.
Barbaric.
Yeah, much like barbaric. It's barbaric.
They are taxing. They're taxing the average, the people who are working to make a living, eke out a living. They are taxing to produce arms, jet planes, aircraft carriers, etc., putting this country in debt to occupy countries that are not at war with us. Because if we did not invade these countries, we would not be at war, the world would not be at war, and the military-industrial complex would go broke. Now, where are the parents? I never hear a parent talk that way. And it galls me whenever they say that in front of me. I smile and I nod my head, like a bubble. What do they call a bubble doll? Bobblehead. Because there's no way out of that, By the way, do you enjoy beating your wife? Question. Now, we have got to wake up. We have to start talking to our kids. Parents out there, please talk to your kids.
But it's patriotic to be in the military. I mean, it's patriotic.
You know what, patriotism, though? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right.
I am as patriotic as the next guy, but I'm patriotic about the ideals that our country were founded on, patriotic about justice and rightness, okay? Not unjust wars. A person who is patriotic, just a blind patriot, they're a zombie.
Well, and
if you're a blind patriot, you're just a zombie.
I mean, we do what our government says. Hey, we have to go to war against Iraq. The terrorists are over there.
Doesn't it have to do with watching TV also? I mean, TV has a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah. I mean, we just blindly believe whatever we're fed.
The Constitution says we have to vote and declare war. We haven't declared a war since World War II, but we've been in bunches of them. So what's that tell you? Are we following patriotically, blindly, a government that is rogue, or are we following an ideal that our founders put forth?
No, not the ideal's gone. Now we just blindly listen to whatever the government spouts on CNN and the Fox. And so now it's patriotic to give your kids or to get your kids to join the military.
I'm all about being patriotic about things that have deep meaning. But this stuff they're doing is nothing to be patriotic about.
You're absolutely correct.
I mean, it's barbaric, sacrificing your children to some,
and the thing is, and you pay for it. The government takes your money to train your kids to kill other people, and you have no idea why. There's no reason. You can't. Now, you can say, oh, they're terrorists, and you can't even define terrorists. If I asked anyone, define Al-Qaeda, I'll bet if I asked 100 people, not one could define it. Now, they'll say, oh, they're the terrorists, man. But other than that, they could not go any further than that. Not 1 in 100. But yet, they will pay to have their children placed on the front line, come back maimed, if not physically, mentally, right, to fight and to kill people that they have no idea who they are. And this is what this country has become. That's why I have a zombie knife, because I have to protect myself today. Now, I have here a helium balloon of the American flag.
Pretty cool.
I wanted to prove to you,
pretty.
and on film, that I'm a patriotic American. I am more American than all these clowns in uniform. I shouldn't say clowns in uniform, the men in uniform, and the clowns that put them there. I apologize. I'm sorry. My apologies. I didn't mean to say that.
The clowns in Washington.
The clowns that put our men in. Absolutely right. I apologize.
The misdirected men in uniform.
And I really feel sorry for them because they don't know. No one's ever sat down with them. Where are the parents? Oh, wait a minute. Parents are not responsible for the education of their children anymore, remember? It is the school system. It's Common Core that's responsible for them.
Okay? And they're rewriting the history books, too.
Oh, they rewrite them every year. Every single history teacher that I have ever confronted. And I said, I just have a question. I said, and not argumentative, I said, could you tell me, how do you handle the revision of history, when the new books come out? Every one of them gets angry. And I said, why get angry? They get, but really angry because they don't know the answer to the question. They have never questioned it. They know it's happening, and they don't know what to do about it. They are that ignorant. That's why we have to protect ourselves from the zombies. That's why I wear my helmet. I have my knife and my balloon.
And we lose.
Okay, let's go to break. We'll be right back. Folks, don't go away. We haven't even started yet.
No.
Welcome back to Liberty Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Cristiano, 855-866-1170. And we have Kathy on the line. Kathy, what do you have to say?
Hope y'all are having a good evening.
Oh, I don't know yet. You may decide that for me, Kathy. Go for it.
I agree with 99% of everything you say.
Thank you.
I don't think it's always the parents who are at fault for these kids joining. I have a nephew, my sister and brother-in-law's son. He was 18. He went to the recruiting office. He joined the Army. He came home and said, I'm in the Army. Boom. Just like that.
Well, that does.
All right. No, I agree.
They'd had the chance. They would have talked him out of it.
All right. Let me ask you this, Kathy. How many conversations do you know that they had with this young gentleman years before he even went to the recruiting office?
I'm not really sure, but my sister and I grew up as service brats.
Yeah, well, this is my point. My point is, it's not something that if Johnny comes up and said, "Mom and Dad, I'm going to go into the Army or whatever," it's the mentality of the parents and what the children grow up believing.
Well, the schools too push.
Yeah, and the school system, and they rely on the school system to teach their kids. They don't touch that. And then when Johnny goes in the Army, they can't understand it. When you ask them, what kind of conversations have you had with Johnny? Well, no, we never touched on that. But, that's the problem.
I don't think it ever crossed their mind he would join the Army.
Absolutely.
Well, also recruiters go to the schools.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Joe, my daughter was going to join the Navy because she wants to get her college education. They entice them with money,
right,
and with opportunities, and and she said to us, and we said, "Do you really thought this through?" And she decided not to do it.
Yeah, but you see, you spoke to them and said you have to. Now, Kathy, let me say this: if in fact every parent fulfilled their responsibility and educated their children as to what was really going on, how many soldiers and sailors and whatever Marines would we have in the Army going overseas, having their head blown off, or with the bombs and whatever on the we call it IEUs?
Not near as many as there is.
Exactly my point, Kathy.
If I had had a chance to talk to him, I guarantee you I would have tried talking him out of it.
Yeah, but
I would never encourage a child to join the military.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, I've spoken to many parents, and when they speak about their son or daughter in the military, they speak with pride. They say, "Oh, he's there right now in Afghanistan. My son is on a second tour," and they are proud that he's in the second tour. They're not discouraging him or her at all. In fact, if anything, they're encouraging him, and they're encouraging the development of this military-industrial complex that's going to kill us all.
Well, I'll tell you, before he did his second deployment to Iraq,
I didn't even hear anything.
they really tried to get him to quit the Army. I mean, they sat him down and talked to him and said, "Don't do this. Don't do it. Get out. It's time to stop."
Right. Well, at least they did that. Yeah.
He was dead set. He wasn't changing his mind. He went. So thank God he came back in one piece.
Well, he's lucky. He's lucky. Some friends of mine and friends and children of friends of mine have come back in one piece, but mentally very different people. Yeah. And that is in fact a disability, because many of them are unable to hold a job because of that. Because
Tim does have a good job. He's doing very well. He's got lots of psychiatric help. He's not on medication. He's doing very, very well. But
that's great.
He's had a lot of support from his family.
That's
and his
great.
friends.
That's great.
So, but he did come back very changed. He was not the same person.
All right. Hey, Kathy, do you have a Liberty Talk Radio T-shirt?
Yes, sir, I do, and I'm very proud.
I hope you wear it 24 hours a day, right? You go dancing in it and all that?
22 at least.
Okay, we'll forgive you on that.
We'll give
you some time. Kathy, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening in.
Y'all have a good one.
You
Bye-bye.
too. I hope, folks, you see my point, that you understand that I'm not being disrespectful. In fact, I'm being respectful for the life and the minds of our young children, because these are our future. They're coming back not in the same shape that they went in, and they're not coming back tougher, and they're not coming back more mature and more able to hold a job. They're coming back, each one comes back slightly handicapped, and some physically and mentally very handicapped. And that's going to further cripple the economy of this country. And I'm not saying it because of economic reasons. I'm saying on a very personal reason. I wouldn't want my sons and daughters to go. I hope you understand that. That's the American way. Read the Constitution. No foreign entanglements. And yet, we just buy into it. We just do it. We don't.
Isn't it true
care.
though that like if you enlist in the Army, your body is part of government property? Like the Army property, if you get a sunburn,
you bet
you are in trouble if you get a sunburn. You know what I mean?
Your bet, yeah. You don't own you. The Army owns you.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Anyone who tells you any different is lying through their teeth. The other day, last week I received a call from a prospective we call guest that wants to come on. He wants to run for office, and he has a very interesting bent on how to turn this country around, I guess slowly, step by step. But there's an old saying, inch by inch, everything's a cinch. I learned that from a gal that I know, and it's true. And he said, Joe, I would like to come up and speak with you first. He's from Eufaula. And his name is Don. And I said, okay, Don, let's do that. He says, well, Jim Bridenstine will be speaking at the First Watch restaurant. He said, why don't we listen to his speech and then you and I can talk for. I said, that sounds great. So he said, well, I think it's going to be this week, Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever the case may be. So I called and they said, oh, no, he's not speaking here. I said, oh, okay. So I said, you sure? Check your calendar. They checked the calendar. They said, nope, Jim Bridenstine is not speaking here. And they mentioned something about, well, we thought it was going to be a Tuesday, but it was canceled or something. They told me something like that. I said, well, okay, well, good thing I checked. This card one. So I called back Don, and I gave him the information. He said, do you mind if I come back anyway, and you and I just have a cup of coffee, and I want to speak to you? I said, oh, no, that'd be great. I said, it's on me. I wound up buying him breakfast, by the way. I'm so generous, you know that? No, he came all the way up from Eufaula. He was a nice guy. And so I showed up at First Watch, and guess who's speaking? There's a speaker there that day, Jim Bridenstine. But I had showed up a little late because Don called me and said, I'm running 20 minutes late, so I showed up later, and I said, well, so I went to the front desk, and I said, well, Jim Bridenstine said they're speaking. I thought you said he wasn't speaking. So I looked at the calendar, they go, oh, no, we don't have him down. I said, but he's speaking. They said, oh, that's the 912 group.
912.
I looked at it, I said, okay, all right, I'll buy the mistake. You looked at the 912, you didn't connect the dots or whatever. So I decided to stand outside because the room was packed. I couldn't get in, and he was actually right by the door facing in, so to speak. And I was in the hall, standing behind him, if you will, okay? And I heard him speak. And I heard him speak for about 10 seconds. And he mentioned about all of the important aspects of America, concerns of America. And he listed, the obvious ones, and then he came to Israel. My mind went blank. Israel? What? And I wanted to, excuse me, Jim, what does Israel, why not Romania? How about, I'm hot. Now I'm hot. I said, I listen to, I'm terrible. I am horrible. I cannot listen to any of these clowns. Now, Jim Bridenstine, generally, I agree with many of the things he says, he's very conservative and all this. I mean, in many things, And I was like, how about Bangladesh, Could we throw in Indonesia? I mean, why Israel?
Jamaica. I think we were
Jamaica. Why not? We can vacation there.
About the same size.
And my problem is I cannot listen to it because as soon as they open their mouths and they start rolling, within a sentence or two, my blood pressure is out of control. Everything. And the thing is there something wrong with me, or is the rest of America so numb that there's not one person there that stirred? Not one. They didn't move. Israel? One of the main aspects of America is Israel. And I played that. I walked away. I said, if I stay here, I'll say something. Then, the guards will come. They'll remove me. I'll be on television. The cops will come. They say, they'll brand me as a terrorist. And I said, I better get out of here. And the more I thought about that, the angrier I became. I didn't even calm down. I got worse afterwards. Now, what does another country have to do with this country?
Well, Israel's important because it distracts us from what's really going on in the country. It's a great way of getting the, quote, moral majority or whatever behind whoever's talking and distracting them from what's really important and what's really going on in this country.
All right. I mean, we're going to go to a break soon.
Oh, there are.
But after the break, I'm going to come back. And, folks, hold on. I mean, really, hold on. I'm going to give you a diatribe you won't believe. I'll tell you. This is going to be a $50 diatribe, I can't stand it. I got to get it out of my system. That's all I thought about. Don't go away. We got our break. Stay with us. Come back, and you'll hear the rest of the story.
I can't wait. Don't forget.
the clowns in this room, which there's several, what they do, I hear my blood pressure is going through the roof, right? My temperature is up 5 degrees, and you know what these clowns do? They serve me coffee, really heavy-duty coffee. I need Valium. I don't need coffee.
I was about to say, you don't need any more caffeine.
No,
you're good. You're good to go.
You guys want to see me die right here, don't you? I mean, you can't.
I never want to see you die, Joe. I hope you live forever. I mean, I really do.
Now, see, folks, you are listening to a professional liar.
Hey, don't tell my dad.
He would make a great politician.
All right, I want to get back to Jim Bridenstine. Now, I'm going to blast him, and we got somebody on the all right, hey, we got somebody on
Probably
the line.
Jim Bridenstine.
Yeah, maybe it's a Jim. All right, Jim, you're on the air.
Joe, Jim, how you doing tonight?
Jim, thank you for calling Liberty Talk Radio at 1170 KFAQ. What's on your mind?
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt your story about Bridenstine. Anxious to hear it, but I did have a point about this all-volunteer army and the cost of war and just how obscene and ridiculous it is. Think of this. If these young men and women didn't enlist and serve, to carry out these wars, we'd have to revert to the selective service and draft men and women that aren't eager to go. We'd have to be drafting people from all classes of society, the affluent, and I think you'd get a lot more protests and anti-war activism if we had a draft. So those volunteers are making it much easier for our country to carry out these missions because we don't have to institute the draft.
Oh, Jim, I agree. That's why mind control is so important. That's why Common Core and all the school systems being controlled is so important. Because if, in fact, people start thinking for themselves and then we initiated a draft, we would have a repeat of what we had in the 60s. We would have riots in the street, and that's what this country needs, unfortunately.
Exactly.
I don't want to see it. But that's what we need. We need a backlash, and we're not getting a backlash because everyone is coalescing. They're just doing what they're expected
Zombies.
to do. They're zombies.
Blind patriots.
I have my zombie shirt, Zombies Are Us shirt on. Look at it, folks. All right, Jim, thank you. You got any other comments, Jim?
No, just again, with all the points that you were making, I totally support. But the implications of if these men and women didn't volunteer and we had to go to a draft, I think the nation's attitude and tone of these Mideast follies would be totally different. And just wanted to make that point clear.
Jim, thank you. I agree. Thank you so much for calling. Okay, now on the next line we have Floyd. Floyd, how you doing? Lloyd.
Yeah, Joe?
Yes, Lloyd, how are you?
You really opened up a can of worms.
Me?
Oh.
No, I didn't mean to, Lloyd.
Well, I know. What I'm saying is people without certain kinds of knowledge can really misunderstand what you're saying because, they've, like me, I grew up in the 50s and 60s watching all the war pictures and all the honor and glory.
Right.
And you're taught that basically through school. You're taught the history of how glorious the wars are.
Right.
And if people would get a pencil and paper, there's some books I would like to list because this is not a short step to understanding because people have to be willing to read. And some of these books are kind of difficult to read. But if people would get a pencil and paper, they should read Peter Dale Scott's book, American War Machine. And another one would be Deep Politics that he wrote. Richard Cottrell wrote Gladio. And then everyone should read Carol Quigley's book, Tragedy and Hope. If you want, now this is this you're getting a large picture here. Classified Woman by Sibel Edmonds. Extreme Prejudice by Susan Lindauer. While America Sleeps by John M. Cole. The Secret Team by Fletcher Prouty. Dark Alliance by Gary Webb. Now, these don't all necessarily deal with military, but they deal with the big picture of how our government, the CIA, NATO, the mafia, the bankers, all work in cahoots, one with the other, to achieve a world domination, a full-spectrum dominance. And our soldiers, now I was in the military, and I was disillusioned, but what we're seeing on television is not what's really going on. We're being presented a picture, but there's a bigger picture if you pull back the camera, and that's what we're dealing with. It has to do with the reason JFK assassination was covered up. It was the CIA covered it up, the FBI covered it up, our Congress covered it up,
Absolutely.
The mafia covered it up. Everyone, because they're all working together. No one could bring out the truth on anything on JFK or any other of these things that happens, because each one will implicate the other.
Right.
If they bring it out.
That's right. Absolutely. And folks, this is not conspiracy garbage or, wacko stuff. This is reality.
Documented.
This is what we have been taught not to understand, not to want to even listen to. And Lloyd, I could not agree with you more.
It's painful to realize this.
I got to tell you, I'm going to go off on a little tangent. Then I want to get back to this 9/12 group. But I read a in-depth article about the CIA. It had nothing to do with JFK. Nothing. Okay. And after reading that article, I don't know why. In my head, I said, "Oh, geez, the CIA killed Kennedy." And it had nothing to do with it. But when you read all of the steps, all of the actions and that are taken by the CIA, you come to an inescapable conclusion that the CIA was involved in killing Kennedy. Then when we had Roger Stone here 2 weeks ago, who was the inside guy there, what does he say? LBJ with the CIA killed Kennedy. No kidding, But of course, all these people are crazy wackos, But the government could tell me a Carcano rifle let off 3 rounds like that and killed. I have a Carcano. You can't fire it that fast. Let me tell you. I mean, all the garbage. The same thing with that and everything else they say. Lloyd, thank you so much for calling in. We have some of those books: Dark Alliance, American War Machine, Deep Politics, Gladio, Tragedy and Hope, Extreme Prejudice, and While America Sleeps. We will see if some people will pick up those books and read them and become educated. Lloyd, thanks a million. Appreciate you calling.
All right, thank you.
Right. Wow, that's great. Lloyd is brilliant. I mean, he calls in every time, but he's a brilliant guy.
He's a studied man.
Now, let me tell you. So here, Jim Bridenstine, he is from the War Machine group. He was an aircraft carrier pilot, and boy, you got to be good to be an aircraft carrier pilot. Oh boy,
he's lucky to be alive.
Oh yeah. I mean, we lose a plane a week on each aircraft carrier. Believe it or not, no one knows that. But and not that we lose the pilot necessarily, but we lose a plane a week, because a guy that I knew, a fellow that I knew well, was a deck chief. And he said, I got paid more than anybody else on the aircraft carrier because we never lived. He said he was tossed overboard 4 times. Yeah, 4 times. And he says, statistically, he should be dead. And he said all 4 times he was retrieved from the water. And he said it's unheard of. An absolutely incredible story. And I asked him, he said, how many aircraft do you think we lose a year on aircraft carrier? I said, well, I said 3. I thought it was going to be too high. 3. He said 1 a week. And then I asked another pilot, and I'm not kidding you, I saw this guy at Starbucks. I said, let me ask you a question. And I asked him, I said, 1 a week. He says, I think the guy's conservative. That's exactly what the guy said. Geez. Understand. So Jim Bridenstine really was very, very brave man and a tremendous pilot. But just think what they do, ask him to do, get in this multi-million-dollar plane that I paid for, right? Fly over there and throw bombs in this area, but don't kill any innocent men, women, and children. Now Bridenstine should have said, Bridenstine said, excuse me, Captain or Admiral or whatever the guy is, and say, when I throw that bomb, I may kill, but you know how many people are going to get killed? They're going to say, shut up and do it, or else you'll be court-martialed, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. But so, I don't know. I give him credit for being a pilot, for wanting to defend our country. I don't know how I give him credit for not thinking and being part of the war machine that resulted in over 1 million Iraqis dying. I have a hard time with that. All right, now, and so he comes from a very neocon point of view. So he's come here, and I'm saying, got all these people. We got a neocon. I wanted to be in the audience then, but that would have been a real problem. All right. Whoa. So I said, he spoke to the 9/12 group. I said, I don't know.
Post 9/11 people.
Yeah, I heard about the 9/12 group. I said, I really don't know who they are. So I went to their website, and I want you to hear this, right? And by the way, this you're not going to. When I went there, they said, and I want to look up their membership. Guess who was a member? Me. I never signed to know who they were. I don't know how I became a member. Yeah, they had me as a member. Yeah.
Well,
I said, well, thank you for being a member.
That must have been the night you were drunk or something.
Yeah,
and you signed up.
But that's every night. Listen, the 9/12 project is designed to bring us all back to the place we were on September 12th, and that's where 9/11 comes. Now, why the hell would you want to come back there? Then they say the day after America was attacked, we were not obsessed with red states or blue states or political parties. We were United Americans standing together to protect the values and principles of the greatest nation ever. So of course,
sounds like a really. Of
course, I had to take a lot of my Latin when I read that.
We need a better trumpet. Can you do a better trumpet?
We want to take back control of it. Then I said, well, let me see what they stand for. Are you ready?
Yeah,
folks, put your seatbelt on. Please, put your seatbelt on. Because, believe me, I almost didn't make it through this one. Now, they have 9 principles, okay? Principle number 1, and I need some help with this one. Number 1, America is good.
Wow.
Wait, no, hey, go to the website. I'm not making this up.
Do you agree with
America is good. And I stopped right there. I said, isn't that amazing? There's something wrong with me. I can't get through 10 seconds of Jim Bridenstine, and I have a lot of respect for the guy. The guy's a smart guy. He's done a lot of good things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being disrespectful. But I can't get through 10 seconds of a speech by him, and I can't get through the first paragraph of the 9/12 group. What's wrong with me? That America is good. Could someone help me? What do you mean? What do they mean by that? America is good.
Is that a full sentence?
That's it. America
I don't even
is
think
good.
that's a complete
And by
sentence,
the way, good is capitalized. Good is capitalized. Period.
Good.
And I'm saying, good. Good what? Is that it's good that we have 200 some odd bases around the world, propping up dictators. I mean, what is good?
We're good at imperialism.
Do-gooders.
We can grow a lot of good food.
But I wanted to ask, I said, what do you mean America's good? And you're going to get all the garbage. But specifically, and when they say America, who the heck are they referring to? Me? I'm not good. I'm a maniac.
Corporations and the military-industrial complex.
Oh, we probably have the best military-industrial
now, I'm going
complex
to
in the world.
be devil's advocate and say that the reason they put that there is probably because there's something good and wholesome about our beginnings. Again, I go back to
that was over 200 years ago.
I know, but it's not even close now to what that was.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Okay,
now
so,
if they said, if they did say America, the precepts of our Constitution, I'd say I agree.
Amen.
All right, amen.
Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they say?
Know.
Why didn't they refer back to the Constitution?
They have me as a member. Any organization that have me as a member is not worth
since you're a member, Joe, can you go down and maybe we could change that one to a little bit? Maybe they'll let you amend that first point.
Number two, and this is where we lose a lot. The reason why is that this program actually is rated very highly. I'm surprised. The Arbitron ratings
not after tonight.
That's right. But that's true. I wanted to mention that the ratings of this program are exceptionally high, and I keep on saying on my next program we're going to lose the ratings. I say that to myself, and I think that's why a lot of people don't say what has to be said.
Let me ask you,
because
Joe,
they're more
do you
concerned
really
about the ratings.
care?
What?
Do you really care?
So what was number 2, Joe? What was number two? What's number 2?
Well, number 2. Yeah. Number 2. And this is where the 3 listeners I have left, they're gone. Okay. I believe in God, and He, capital letter He, is the center of my life. Now,
is this a religious organization?
No. I'm saying that. Don't get me wrong. You believe in God. That's wonderful. Yeah. But what does that? I mean, what do you mean you believe it? What does that have to do with being a principal in the 912 group? Now, if they believe in the Constitution accepts everyone of all religions. Some believe in God. Some believe in something that's not even referred to as God, but something similar. Yeah. Some are atheists, agnostics. In other words, any and all people
are included.
And they say they believe it. So all of a sudden, they become what? A Christian organization.
Well, sounds like AA.
You don't believe
a
in
religious
God,
organization.
You're gone.
A religious organization.
And you go, now, wait a minute. That's not right. How do you defend that? How do you say you support the Constitution and say that? All right. Now, number 3. I must always try to be more honest person than I was yesterday. Well, I saw that one, of course, then I flipped again. I go, my God, I can't go through anything. You mean yesterday you weren't that honest?
You were dishonest.
This sounds like kindergarten. Is this something that they pulled from a kindergarten curriculum or something?
I had to. Now, if I was Jim Bridenstine, I would have chastised the hell out of them. I really would have said, you seem like nice people, but you're a bunch of jerks. You make no sense whatsoever. But no, he gets there and he placates them, he bows to them and all that. Listen, I must always be a more honest person than I was yesterday. Well, I can't do that. I can't. I'm as honest as I could be. Period. I mean, yesterday, oh, by the way, I cheated you yesterday, but today I'm not going to cheat you as much. What kind of stupid statement is that?
Come on.
I can't stand it. I'm going nuts. Here's another one. The family is sacred.
What family?
The family is sacred. My spouse and I are the ultimate authority, not the government. I don't understand what they mean by that. Now, I had to look up sacred. Sacred is worthy of religious worship. I mean, I can see the family is.
That's a nice platform,
else,
but again,
a nice word, but sacred.
But is this a political organization or a religious organization?
I haven't the foggiest idea
because
I'm just a member. That's all. What do I
know? No, I mean, I think some of those things are nice, warm, fuzzy, but. I mean, it's not really a political organization, is it?
Hey, I'm not finished yet.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just warming up here. You know that. This is the problem. These organizations say all these things. They can't defend it. They don't know really what it means. And then if you ask them, they get angry. Then they say you're a ungodly, and you're a bad guy.
I don't think you're a member anymore.
Nobody.
I think you're gone.
I hope. Please take my name off. Here. Now, this is the one that really got me because I wasn't too excited before this, right?
Number 5.
I needed something to really ratchet up my blood pressure. Here it is. If you break the law, you pay the penalty. Justice is blind and no one is above it. Now, wait a minute. Are you telling me that these criminals in office who bypass the Constitution, who are being paid big bucks to do what they're told, not only that, but they do what they're told because if they don't, then their wife finds out about all the girls they've been having on the side, et cetera, all the dirt. Everyone has dirt on one another. They pass laws that are unconstitutional, bypassing Congress. Thousands upon thousands of these laws are passed every year, and if I don't obey them, let me see, it says, if I don't obey those laws, I should pay the penalty? I don't think so. In fact, if anything, the criminals that are making these laws are breaking the law of the land, the Constitution, and they should pay the ultimate penalty. We should hang them all.
Maybe Lady Justice ought to take the blindfold off and see what's happening.
Oh, sure. You know what?
Justice is blind.
Huh?
It sounds like a Masonic group, honestly. Like,
oh my God! When I read that, I said, "What the hell are they talking about?" They're not. It's all these platitudes that no one has been given into. I'm convinced everyone in that room was zombies. Now, if you looked at the group, and I looked real quickly, they look like upper class, South Tulsa, I have money, retired people. I'll be honest with you. I mean, just, a
nice group of people.
And overtly religious, don't talk religion, because I'm the ultimate religion people. Number 6, I have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but there is no guarantee of equal results. And I said, oh, my goodness, I agree with them. That's what I agree with.
Yeah, well, that should have been number 1.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. The one and only. One and only, all right? I work hard for what I have, and I will share it with whomever I want. They said with who I want. They meant whomever I want. Government cannot force me to be charitable. I agree. There's one that's specific, right? It is not un-American for me to disagree with authority, and it's not un-American for me to disagree with the 912 group, by the way, disagree with authority, or share my personal opinion about the 912 group.
They're starting to make sense.
You're still in the group.
Yeah, I'll venture to say if you took any one of those people and put them in the studio today, and they heard me here, they could not have a logical conversation. They would be so angry. I mean, they would walk out. You know why? Because they haven't given what they said any thought, and the only way they can respond to it is to walk out. Because I've been through this before with several people. Number 9, the government works for me. I do not answer to them. They answer to me. Okay? I do not answer to them. They answer to me. But that flies in the face of if you break the law, you pay the penalty. Because they're the ones making the laws outside of their jurisdiction.
And we're not holding them responsible.
Right. And we're not holding them responsible.
Exactly,
but then at the same time, they said the government is responsible to me. I'm not responsible. No, you can't have that both ways.
No.
Then they have the 12 values, and here they are: honesty, reverence, hope, thrift, humility, charity, sincerity, moderation, hard work, courage, personal responsibility, and gratitude. That's nice. So what? So what?
That's kind of like progress is promised.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like we said last week, progress is promised. I think everyone needs to start thinking. And we don't think, we just do. We write down the right words, we do things in a committee, and then we expect everyone to agree, and the world is right, but nothing gets fixed.
How are we going to fix this? We got to hold them responsible. We start holding these men responsible, call them out for what they are.
You can't hold them responsible when you have people like
this
Jim Bridenstine saying that, Israel.
Yeah.
Here's my gripe of Israel. If you want, we have people in high places in government, right, very high places, who have dual citizenship. Israeli, right? Mm-hmm. Right? If we went to Israel, we cannot become a citizen, and yet we consider them a democracy. They're not. They're a theocracy, and they're mean at that. And we call them the only democracy that we have to support. That is true mind control. And now this is the end of today's program. Folks, this is the end of today's program. We're out. We're out of here. All right, this is the end of today's broadcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors for the financial support. And we'd like to thank you for listening in. Further, folks, you can further the cause of liberty by recommending this program to your friends. And let me hear from you. Our email is comments@libertytalkradio.com. Remember, you're either allowing your liberties to be taken away or you're striving to protect them. Unfortunately, there is no middle ground. With that, until next time, I'm Joe Cristiano. This is Liberty Talk Radio. Stay well. Stay tuned.